Welcome to the segment of We're Here. Yeah, this was
What?
different.
Was what the topic?
Mm-hmm.
I know. All right. Just waiting for some people to get on. You sharing it?
Mm-hmm. That is a good one.
What?
This says, can men and women be friends? Just platonic friends. You and I've had this conversation several times.
Oh, Lord.
But I'll add the difference to it. I don't know.
Add the difference.
I think add the difference, yeah.
You gonna add the difference.
I think we already
add the difference to it.
I think we already had that discussion though. About
you gonna add the difference.
Should a man have a female as a friend if he's in a relationship or married?
Yeah, I think we have, but we can talk about it again because sometimes you got to revisit topics.
Which goes to the topic of can men and women be friends?
Yeah, that's true. Who is this person?
Who? I don't know.
I think every time they on here. I'm not sure what that's about. Like it must be like somebody said, like I know one of the people on the newspaper or Courier or something, every time he posts something, the person comes on there doing that too. So I'm wondering if
it has something somebody on your friends list.
No, I don't think they're on my friends list. I think maybe it could be on the unfiltered married friends thing. So we may need to just block them or something. Because that's just really weird. Pay no attention to Sam Gloves. I don't know who that is. Like he just keeps randomly showing up for some reason.
I don't like gloves, Sam. I like germs.
Really?
So.
All right, so I think I shared it. We can start.
What you want to talk about? Top of the hour.
Oh, top of the hour. That's top of the hour. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I stopped watching Diddy. Remember a couple weeks ago?
He did. Okay, but look though. No. That is not what I was saying. He, for some reason, I don't know why he didn't catch that. But what I find to be more amusing, I wish I could spend more time watching it, is the Karen Reed trial. Just because it's live and
you can see.
You can hear the testimony and stuff. So Karen, and we found out about this in the weirdest way. So we went to go get some glasses, and we went to
Versace.
Who was it? We were my eye doctor, right? Yeah. We were like, let's go to my eye doctor. So we went in there, and I don't even know how we got on the subject. I think say something about me being an attorney, and they was like, "What type of attorney?" And I said, "Well, I did criminal work." And then the lady just, from that point forward, just got all into telling us about this case called Karen Reed.
But before you say that, though, what's funny is you see how, and I don't know if color got anything to do with race, got anything to do with that, but you see how Diddy just plastered all over the news, and we ain't know nothing about that. And it's a retrial,
right? And it's very interesting too.
Yeah.
And it's like it could potentially mean there was some kind of big police cover up. So it's a really good trial.
Yeah.
Actually, for people to watch, and it actually is a good one to learn because everything is happening. I mean, to learn different things about court because everything is happening in that trial that you would not have expected, especially with the accident guy, reconstruction guy I've never heard anything so ridiculous before in my life. Remember the one who said, "Oh yeah, he flew all the way over here," and they were like, "Well, do you have all?" It's just been like so. Anyway, we went to the eye eyewear place. She started telling us about this trial about Karen Reed, and I guess basically it's this lady who supposedly hit her boyfriend with her car, and there was at one point they were saying it was accidental. The other point in time they were saying she was drunk. Another time they were saying she was mad and hit him. But basically, the boyfriend was a police officer,
and everybody at the house was police officers.
So, and everybody at the house, where he got hit at, they were all police officers. They're all police officers. So supposedly, there's this big potential cover up as far as police officers trying to say that she killed him when maybe they killed him. I guess is what they're trying to say.
Well, what it seemed like. Remember when they showed the fight, talking about how she was texting the other cop.
Yes.
So when they went to the house, her boyfriend just surprised her.
Right.
Said, hey, let's go to the house. And the guy that she was texting was there. So it seems like she was like, I don't want to go in.
Right.
And maybe it was a dispute about the guy and the cop, and they beat him up. But she didn't go in. She left, and then she was supposedly drunk or whatever.
It was interesting. So the documentary is on Max, right?
Yeah.
We watched it on Max. But so she had one trial. The first trial, it was just ridiculous. Like we watched some of the documentary and they showed like different points of testimony in the trial, and it was just crazy. Like you could tell some people were just making up some stuff. The prosecution called experts that didn't have a degree in. I don't even know how they got qualified as experts, but they were calling experts that were saying this happened. It was just impossible stuff. There were people saying a dog bit his arm because his arm was all scratched up. The dead guy's arm was all messed up, and they were saying it was coming from a tailgate, like the police were. Somebody else was saying it looked like dog bites, and then coming to find out that the police officer whose house they were going to had a dog that he just all of a sudden got rid of. All these police officers got rid of their phones the day before they were told to hand them over, and one went all the way to a military base and threw his phone out. So so they had the trial. The jury was hung. And now they're having a retrial. So the retrial is what we've been watching because that one's actually live. So that's going on now. The prosecution has rested. The defense is presenting their case. And the defense is funny because the defense, they're calling witnesses that the prosecution called in the first trial. But like these witnesses didn't do the prosecution any justice. So they didn't call them this trial. So now the defense is calling the witnesses.
And then the prosecution trying to make it look like they're lying, and they told the same story in the first trial.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all over. But
Karen Reed, it's hilarious.
And it's actually Reed, like READ. So it's Karen Reed. Like it's the trial. It's just when you watch it, it's too funny.
And the other part about it is the only arguments that they can say that the couple had was because she was spoiling his kids that wasn't biologically hers. And that was the only arguments that they had. Like,
right, was about the kids.
So that's the motive to kill them.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. All over the place. So that was a good one. That's a trial that you must watch. I mean, if you can't, because Diddy, you can't watch the trial. You can only get what people are saying. I heard somebody start fighting or something in Diddy trial.
I've seen something about it today. I didn't look at it because of what you said.
Shut up. Anyway, I don't know. But I don't like it because you don't know what's going on for real. But so that one is a good one. And then what's the other top of the hour? We went to Hilton. We went to Beaufort.
Yeah.
Beaufort, South Carolina. And then and it was definitely an interesting
I got ticked off.
City. Right? In South Carolina. It's really very rich in history. There's a lot of historical stuff that you learn with regards to like Native Americans or and Africans and the slavery and all that stuff. So it's very, very rich in history as far as learning about that. And then we went over to Hilton Head because it's not too far from there. We went to Hilton Head to the beach area, and that was really, really nice.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
As long as I've been in South Carolina, I've heard of Hilton Head and never been down there. So it's somewhere I'm gonna have to go back because we actually ended up in Hilton Head, on the last day when we were leaving. So we spent all day over there. So
yeah, listening to bands and stuff. We went to go watch dolphins, sightseeing on the dolphin tour. So we did that. But yeah, it's definitely a nice place. So if you in South Carolina, you definitely should check it out if you are visiting the areas. or want a vacation spot, it looked like it'd be a kind of cool vacation spot. Hilton Head, if you've never been. And Beaufort was actually pretty nice too. It's more of those like I don't want to call it sleepy town because it didn't really seem really sleepy, but it was kind of it's a small town, but I guess the place to be is Luther's maybe there, and it was like they had a band playing. It was nice. So it was definitely a nice vibe, a nice downtown. I like going places that have actual downtowns that you can walk up and down. There's a lot of activity going on. So
that's the old version, the old people stuff that we was doing.
Yes.
But anyway,
so
in this topic that my wife just came up with on
stink,
the
stunk.
spare the moment, that's about to be interesting. That's all I'll say.
Why? Because I think it's definitely an issue. So listen, I don't remember where I saw this at, but I remember there was a person that was talking about their partner smelling, as far as being really smelly as far as hygiene, right? And I know like we can joke about that and stuff, but there are people that are actually dealing with this type of issue, especially when I did the research. Like there's people that's dealing with this issue of stinky partners, right? Now one would say, why would you be with someone that's stinky in the first place? But there are stories of people that were, I guess, because they were engaged in impression management, they were not stinky to begin with, but then they became stinky later on in the relationship. So what do you do about that? What do you do if you notice that your partner isn't keeping up with their keeping up with their hygiene? What do you do about that? What do you do? You never had any stinky partners?
No. I mean, everybody gonna.
No. You ain't never had no stinky partners.
Wait. It depends on what we're talking about here. Because I've had what's going on, Matt? I've had you smelly.
From working out.
Yes. So that's what I said. It depends on what we're talking about.
No.
But hold on, that ain't even a smelly, like stinky, like, ooh, get away from me. It's like you didn't bust your butt. Now we're talking about private areas and stuff like that. As a grown man, let me be honest. I'm gonna be honest here. We're talking about private areas. When I was younger, my wife told me I should have never been having sex anyway. When I was younger, I thought women were supposed to smell like that. Like have a little fishy odor there, little tilapia smell, catfish smell. But I thought that was. Well, I'm telling you, when I was younger, I didn't know anything. You know, growing up in the hood, you know, it smells like this and it smells like that. So you run across a couple of smell like that, you think that's natural. You know, and matter of fact, as I got older, I started thinking women that didn't have some type of smell. We're talking personal hygiene wise, private areas, thought something was a little bit wrong. So that's a whole nother story. But now, as a grown man, I would say even before I got married, I knew that you weren't supposed to smell, right? But if I was dealing with a woman again, you know, we're talking about private areas, then I'm gonna tell you about yourself because of what I had grew into as far as being as brazen and boisterous or loud as I was. Like I would embarrass you. Like we trying to be intimate. Hell, we had a body odor as far as being musty. I'm around you and coming around like, you know, we used to, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. That's just because you're just too old for that. Like I may bag off if you had bad breath or something. Like because sometimes people can have stuff going on in their mouth or whatever. You know, you may not be able to control that as much, but your underarms, yeah, I'm gonna have to let you know about that. Back in the day, I don't know if Brad on here or whatever. We had a homegirl that was called Stank Booty, right? But the thing about it is, I don't even know why we started calling her that. I started calling her that because they called her that. I never really smelled her, and I'm talking about body odor, right? I never smelled anything on her, so I don't know. They just called her Stank Booty. So, but yeah, I think if I had ran across somebody, you know, earlier and they smelled, I would have to tell them about themselves. And even you as my wife, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I catch you a little bit older, I'm gonna tell you now. I don't know how to tell you appropriately. That's the question.
Yeah,
how do you tell you? Hey, look here, baby. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You need to go to the doctor. Something don't smell right. How do you do that? I don't know how you do that. How do you tell? Especially like it's being my wife. Like, how do you tell me being your husband, like, how you be like, hey, baby, you know, you smell a little bit like butt.
Yeah, see, I can't do the butt smell.
I don't know. Like, how do you do that?
He said, but ain't no way when they got access to soap.
But I'm saying, what if it's your wife though? Like, how do you tell your wife that?
That's what I'm saying. And these people have been like they're like in committed relationship, and then they just I don't know why they didn't know the person in stink to begin with. But maybe, like I said, they were putting.
I understand. I understand what we call this impression management.
Right.
So you go 6 months with, man, let me take a bath every day. Let me keep my feet clean. Let me wash them all. Let me put deodorant on. You hit that 8-9 months. Hey, baby, nigga, what? Like, I don't know how that works. But seriously, how do you tell your partner that they smell?
I think maybe you could say like, did you take a bath today?
No, that's gonna be
offensive. Well, how's that offensive?
You asked me if I tell you.
Did you take a bath today?
The hell you mean that? Like that ain't the.
Or maybe
Matt, since you always on here, how do you tell? I ain't talking about a girlfriend, somebody you just met. How do you tell your wife or somebody you've been with for a while they stink or they got a smell? Because I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I think I may come on and be like, baby, you stink.
You probably would.
I probably would.
I'm just gonna say I smell butt. Because he already knows. I keep telling him about I can't be around anybody to smell butt. Like that's a wrap for me. I don't know
what butt smell like. Though. Like she killed me. That's what she keep telling me. What do butt smell like? Oh, it just smell like butt. It smell like, what do butt smell like? Do it smell like a pig's fin? Like when horses and cows use them? What do butt smell like?
It's just a specific smell.
So if I sniff your butt right now, I got to smell.
No, if you smell like butt, it's like butt. Like you ain't.
I'm gonna go into
butt.
Matt said just say it.
I mean, just butt. I don't know what it is. Just like when I smell butt, I'm like, nope, I smell butt. If I smell it,
does it smell like fart?
No, it's just I don't know how to. It's like a sourish.
That smell like a locker room and you've been playing sport. So I'm gonna go in a fragrance store and be like, y'all got that new a fragrance called butt. Nigga said doo-doo.
It smells different from boo though, but I don't know. It just smells like butt. I was hard to explain. Like it smelled like somebody who hasn't washed. Like it's not even a musty smell. It smells like someone who hasn't. Like yeah, but it smells like someone who hasn't actually taken a rag with some soap on it and washed their butt crack.
So I
guess if your butt crack is smelly,
it smell like boo boo.
Not boo boo.
Well, how would your butt smell if you ain't white clean?
I don't know, like butt.
You're white clean. How do you? That's
this is crazy.
But on a serious note,
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out though. Like, you know what? I probably wouldn't just come out and be like, "Baby, you stink," especially if it's your private area. I don't know how. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how I would tell you that.
I don't either, and I think that's what people struggle with.
Because so what happens is because even, and I know you would want me to tell you, but on the same token, it's like, okay, well, what if you don't think or know anything's wrong because you know your body, and if I say that, like, oh, you smell XYZ, and then you go like, no, I don't, but then I smell it, but you don't, or vice versa, then you get offended, I guess, right? Like that ain't funny, but I'm trying to be serious, man. Like how you do that?
Someone said you can say, hey, look, this is awkward, and I'm sure you're not aware of it, but I really thought you want to know that you have a strong body odor.
Okay, so now if I go down on you and then I tell you that ain't gonna be like what?
And then change the topic as quickly as you can.
No, that ain't gonna work like that because then we're gonna talk about that. What do you mean I stink?
What do you say? I've noticed that there's a strong odor sometimes, and I wanted to let you know.
All righty, okay. So
I mean, it could be.
We're gonna have to switch topics very soon here. Because I don't know how you tell people other than you smell like
somebody said you could say, do you feel okay? I noticed you haven't been keeping up with showers lately, and I'm concerned about you.
What the heaven?
Or they said, I've never noticed this before. Are you eating something different or taking new medications or supplements?
I would go back around like this. Hey man, you smell that? Something don't smell right.
I don't think that's gonna be good.
Something don't smell right.
That I don't think that's gonna be good. But so listen, this is why this is important though, because this is reality. People deal with this stuff. I don't really know what you say to someone who, man, you know you say. Really mad. You ain't gonna. But I don't know how you deal with that. I just don't. I do know that for some people it could be a huge turnoff. But I don't understand. Here's the thing: when you're talking about hygiene and stuff, I think people. I've seen instances where a person has claimed they couldn't take baths for a certain reason, I guess, but it was still kind of to me like
water.
No. Somebody told me like they can't take baths because of their eczema or something. Like they can't take them every day. And even though I understood that rationale completely, to me I was kind of just like, yeah, okay, that's gross. Like I never noticed that they stunk or anything, but I was still thinking like that's nasty. Like there's no way I could date you because you just like you don't take baths every day. Like I can't do that. I'm confused. I don't understand how people can get up and just like. And I know some people like to lay around. And matter of fact, we were just having this conversation when we was in Waterloo, with T and Ray and them. Like they were talking about like I don't understand how some people just don't wash their face or they don't even use a face rag to wash their face and stuff. And I'm the same way as like sometimes like I don't know how people can get up and just go out to a store and you haven't touched water. Like how is that even possible? Like you don't feel yucky? Like if I wake up and I don't wash my face right away, like say I get up and I'm like, okay, let me go log in real quick and blah, 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 blah. My face feels like sticky, like oily. Yeah, and I have to wash it. Like at the very least, I gotta go wash my face and brush my teeth.
And that's something that I can't stand. And I can sit there and tell you before I've hopped in the bed and not taking a shower at night and maybe get up and take one in the morning, right? But if I feel sticky, like even walking outside and like when we went and worked out today, right? She went and jogged. I ran around, walked around the track. But it wasn't really super hot, but I started feeling sticky and I still feel it now. Mm-hmm. So no, I didn't come home and jump in the shower, but I'm not gonna get in the bed without taking a shower because I still feel that. Like I know, we started putting the thing together, and I thought I was gonna go outside and do something else, but which I didn't have time to do. But I can't get in the bed feeling like this because I feel nasty. Right. So I don't know how that works though.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And like hygiene is just important, period. Right. There's so many other than just smelling bad and stuff, but there are so many things that your body, like your skin, bacteria that your skin has on it, your like even issues with your mouth and bacteria in your mouth and bacteria in your teeth and stuff. And I remember one time we were with another couple, and I don't understand how she could eat. I couldn't. I was sitting across from the guy, and I could look in his mouth, and I was thinking like I don't know how she would him.
Oh, I know.
Because his mouth is so. Yeah. I'm not just saying like teeth was yellow because that's a problem too, right? But I know people's teeth can get stained if you in between cleanings and stuff. But like it was just caked full. Like you know how when your teeth have like the white stuff all like when somebody's teeth have white stuff all down at the gums and in the between.
He looked like he ate a manure sandwich.
It was just I was thinking like, okay,
and then do they breath stink?
I don't know. Like you have to know your teeth look like that. Do you floss? And then I'm thinking like,
you want floss?
No, he does have teeth though. He had teeth. But then I'm thinking like, how does a person kiss you like that? Because your mouth, it would make me. I couldn't. I put like this. I had a hard time eating because I was just like, okay, that just looks gross, right? And I know I'm more particular. Some people would be, but I just don't understand. And here's the thing. If a person has bacteria in their mouth and you're kissing them, like if they have periodontal disease or gingivitis, people they don't know that stuff can spread back and forth if they're not cleaning their mouth and taking time to get their teeth cleaned and stuff. That bacteria spreads. It doesn't just stay with them; it can transfer to you.
Well, I'll say this, God. That's something different. My wife told me if I start losing teeth, that she got to divorce me. and I had to get one taken out. Boy, I tell you, I'm getting scared. If I miss another, y'all may not see me. Y'all may not see me on here no more. But no, I have another issue with that though. Like not that part, but I used to ride the bus a lot when I was changing jobs and stuff like that. And I don't want to be. It's one particular set of people, I say it that way, that they don't believe in it, especially in New York, but they don't believe in like heat. Believe in air conditioner. Nor does it seem like they don't believe in deodorant, because when I be on the bus, they'll come sit down and it's like a loud, funky smell, and they don't care. And that's how I guess that's their religion or their personal belief. And I literally used to tell them, man, I ain't trying to be funny, but you don't smell too good. And that's how I tell them.
Yeah, but people, that's different though, I think.
How's it different? You stink.
No, I think that's different. I think if you are, if that is there's a difference between not using deodorant and having a musty smell than there is a person just being unclean. And so I joke when I say stink, stank, and stunk, but it's really like more so like cleanliness at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just got out of the shower and you don't believe in deodorant and you musty like 20 minutes later, I'm not gonna look at you and be like, oh, you're not clean. I just know that okay, you don't believe in deodorant and you just musty, like musty.
Oh, but that ain't a turn off?
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying I don't look at people any kind of way because they choose not to wear deodorant or something like that. I think there's a difference between that and just being unsanitary, yeah, like that. So
I would agree with that a little bit, but I don't know if you just got out the shower now. If I'm walking in public and you beside you, I don't know, you just got out the shower. If I'm just meeting you, and
but that's not important. It's not okay, but that's different. That's why we're talking about intimate relationships though, because people that you just in the public with, you ain't got to see them all the time. It become
intimate when you get your musty butt in my space.
No, I'm talking about partners.
Oh well.
So like when you have partners and they smell a certain way, then you have to.
If you start telling me now that you ain't believe in deodorant, that might be a problem. Cause I'm not about to be walking around with you musty now. We definitely have two sets. We ain't get a divorce, but we definitely, this house big enough where I go sleep in the game room.
And this is the thing, because like I switched to this deodorant because I stopped using deodorant that had certain chemicals in it, right? Because of the risk for breast cancer and stuff. Well, this is kind of more natural deodorant that I use now. It doesn't prevent me from sweating, but I don't smell smell musty either. So it doesn't prevent me from smelling because that's not what its job is. Because sweating, sweating because
hold on, let me say it one more time. She meant sweating
because that's its job. It doesn't have the chemicals in there that would prevent you from sweating. So I do sweat. It just doesn't stink when I sweat. So I don't know. But this is what important, because according to psychology today, smell is very important, right? Your partners, people come have different smells anyway. When someone comes from one house to another, you can tell, oh, that's from so-and-so's house. I can pick up clothing right now, and if it's from, and this is not to say anybody stinks, but if it's from like somebody else's house, I can be like, this gotta belong to them because it smells like their house. Like people just have their own smell, period. And so psychology today was saying that how your partner smell actually determines how long your relationship is going to last. So this is regards whether or not they stink or not, right? If they just have a smell that for some reason your nose and your senses do not like, you're not going to be with that person. Like supposedly, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff to kind of like with the hormones and pheromones and all that stuff that we emit, like people are attracted to different smells anyway. So it's saying like, if your partner doesn't have a smell you don't like, then your relationship is going to be short-lived. But on top of that, it also says that it took people, they did a study, and it took these people one time to smell their partner smelling stinky.
Yes.
Before they decided they didn't want to be with them no more. One time. They smelled bad. One time the person was like, yeah, I don't want to be in this relationship. So this is how important hygiene is. Hygiene can apparently turn people off if they smell it, something bad going on with you one time. And they said even more so if you're engaged in sexual intimacy and they smell something one time, that decreases the sexual satisfaction they have with that person, and it continues to decrease it, and they're more prone to break up.
You said basement.
Yeah, basement smell. Yeah, that's true.
I can't. I'll tell y'all something right here. This is funny. You know, I forgot about this one. You know what's a no go for me? An automatic termination of a relationship. If I ever had dated a woman or came across a woman and she had stinky feet, I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I would deal with a woman, and it's terrible, with a stinky private area quicker than I would a woman with stinky feet. Because a woman's feet not supposed to stink. I understand your private area ain't supposed to neither, but I thought
I'm not dealing with anybody with any stinking nothing.
Yeah, but if your feet stink as a woman,
no man, a man's feet shouldn't stink.
I mean,
I don't like the feet smell, like the funky smell.
That be out construction work or something.
Yeah, but your feet shouldn't be stinking. Now this is the thing. It depends on if you work in a job and you need to change your shoes if your feet gonna be stinking. First of all, that's number one. But number two, you definitely shouldn't be getting in bed with funky feet. Well, that's a no.
I would hope like heck that you come. I would hope like if you doing one of them jobs, you come home, first thing you do is get in the shower. Now,
I would hope so. I would hope so. But here's the other thing. Now here's something. Here's a positive. This is what should motivate y'all to make sure you're always smelling good and fresh and clean, right? Because studies have also shown that the more a partner likes their partner's smell, the more committed they are to the relationship. If they like your smell, they're going to stay with you. They said because again, this goes back to the whole, when the person's not around and you smell their shirt because their shirt has their smell on it, blah, 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 that type of thing. So they're more committed to you if they like your smell.
I used to think all of that was, you know what, I'm glad we talked about that. Anyway, ADHD kicked in, sorry. I used to think about that, like when I go away and you left your shirt and I'm laying with your shirt and stuff, like what? I mean, that's weird to me. But like even when they said the same thing with like certain animals, even if they did it with the sugar gliders, like get your scent on them, like I'm like the psychological aspect of that didn't register or don't register with me well. Because I don't know, I mean, if you're saying everybody has their own unique smell, not necessarily related to, you know, musty or stinking or whatever, I guess my nose is really worse than what I think it is because I don't know what you smell like.
He has a bad nose. He really does. But
some got to be like really rotten for me to smell it.
Yeah, everyone has their own unique smell, and so the more they like your smell, the more committed they're gonna be to that relationship. So do what you gotta do, people, to get your smell.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go
get your smell good up.
I can't even wear nothing with you because everything irritates your nose.
I know, like I don't know what this thing is going on. It does everything. Irritates my nose. It's funny because when I was at the doctor's office, I went to the dermatologist a couple of weeks ago, and the guy that he had a male nurse this time. And I was like, what is that you have on? Because it was just smells so good. And he gave me the name of it. But I was like, dang, man, I can't even, like, my nose. So I can't even be around, like, cologne and perfume as much as I like to. Because I used to like it, too, in case you forgot. Like, I used to be like, oh, I like this. I mean, my allergy or whatever this thing is.
She don't like the smell, y'all. She just told myself.
Doesn't fare well. But anyway, stay true to the cleanliness.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know what else we got to talk about. What you want to talk about?
I thought you said you just had something. You just said I just came with the this.
Oh no, I seen something that was that irritates. I'll tell y'all what. When I scroll across, I guess this will be a really random episode here. But when I scroll across the internet and I see some of the crazy stuff on my timeline, because like she said, I'll do sometimes look at ratchet stuff, right? Why did I see a girl today? And this is what we can discuss. This is where our society is going with relationships and the thought process of the younger generation. This girl said, what is wrong with a man that puts his wife before and you know I hate dislike this term, baby mama, because he could get rid of her with a simple signature on a piece of paper where the baby mother is going to be in his life forever. And I sat there, and
for some guys, that's unfortunate.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And I sat there and I thought about it. You had told me a while ago, and I still had never latched on to the idea of how a woman thinks because you have a kid by her that she's there forever. But the idea, her having the ideal of that, your child's mother is more important than your wife. It to me that says that it just demonstrates on how this generation and if it doesn't change, the future generations look at relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says a lot. If she thinks that, then one day I would think that you would want to be a wife. So you're trying to tell me you're going to think that if he has children prior to you, that he's supposed to put this child's mother over you?
I think the only women that think that are women who want to still be with the guy. Because no woman in their right mind is going to should really for real be thinking that.
Well,
like seriously, like why would?
But that's the way, because when you look at these arguments with about the 50-50 and what a man should do, what a woman should do, and this, that, and the third, that's still in the same realm of what these people thinking about and how their mindsets is that they're, as you like to say, perverting relationships or whatever. They're changing the dynamics of what or trying to change the dynamics of what a real loving relationship / marriage supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like, now it really doesn't seem like marriage is the goal for people.
It really
doesn't. So I just don't understand how people would think, or is that a true thing? Do people really think like that?
They do. Keep going. Oh,
jeez.
Sorry.
Anyway, so, but yeah, that was very alarming to me as well. And my thought process on that is this. I personally, depending on the child, to extent, no children comes before my wife. Like if I have to, if one of the situations that I have to deal with personally, I'll tell y'all this personally. Like I have a very a child's mother who is a high conflict child's mother, right? And it has gotten to the point where, I have to disassociate myself away from that situation, including my child, just because at the end of the day, I'm not going to keep letting her drag my wife and me through a whole bunch of BS or whatever. So I don't understand how those type of women can think that they supposed to come first, because she even said that to her, I'm always going to be there, like in a confrontation situation. So I don't never understand that mentality of people and women. And even men, because I've heard stories that men get women pregnant to try to trap them to be there forever. And I just think that's some of the craziest stuff ever, because if somebody tell me they don't want to be with me, they'll try to get you pregnant to make you stay in my life. That's the dumbest stuff.
It's called mental illness. And that's what I'm saying about not being mentally healthy. A lot of people weren't, a lot of us have things that we're dealing with mentally. That's true. But there are some people who are so unhealthy when it comes to their mental aspect of things, that they have that type of thinking. Like they think like, oh, well, because I had this kid to try to keep this man, then I should always be put forward first. When you think about it rationally, it doesn't even make sense, because why would you want to continue to have to rely on a guy that you're not with? Shouldn't you want to eventually have a husband that is doing over and beyond for you, and you don't have? Why would you have to still, if you were seeking a relationship or a marriage where you had a partner that was providing everything that you could actually absolutely desire, what would be the need for you to have your child's father doing that? It doesn't even make sense when you think about it rationally. So it just shows you how short-sighted people who say that are. Like it makes no sense. But it goes back to what I was talking about the other week about the lady who was graduating with her 2 double masters, and the guy who was saying he couldn't be at his wife's graduation from grad school because his daughter was graduating from pre-K. And everyone was like, what type of wife is she to want him to be there? And I'm thinking like, so your kid is graduating from eating crayons and y'all talking about he should be at that graduation as opposed to his wife's graduation? I'm confused. Like, why are y'all even thinking in that manner? Like, I don't understand. Like, matter of fact, if the situation had been where I had a young child and dad was remarried to someone and that person was graduating from, college or whatever, and my child was graduating from kindergarten, I'm gonna tell him, like, you stay there, I'll videotape it for you, or I'll do some, or whatever, so that you can see it. If you want to be involved, I'll FaceTime you, videotape, but you need to be at your wife's event. I'm not gonna have, why would I even, he better stay at his wife's event. Why would I even suggest that he even come there for that? That makes, and I'm not gonna feel any kind of way. The kid is not even gonna remember it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you, kids that age, because they have no sense of time whatsoever, or no concept really of a whole lot of things, you could have staged a fake graduation for them after the fact, and they'd have been just as happy.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. Like, I remember early on in my youngest daughter's relationship, my mother kept away from me for like 7-8 months. Mm-hmm. And then I was just so scared that I wasn't going to recognize me or know me or whatever, because she was like super young, like 2. And then when we went and got her, she was just like I never left.
Right.
Like, so she didn't know. So, but yeah, it's just the way that, people and they're looking at relationships. I don't understand how we get back to people understanding that a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man. And when I say need, I'm not talking about like have to have, but maybe want is the word.
You mean not need, like not dependent on.
Yeah, like we got.
But need is so they complement man and female, male and female, man and woman. We're designed to complement each other.
Right. And I don't know how you get back to that, and because it's like it has strayed so far away from relationships. Part of it, I would say, I think is the devil. I just believe that in my whole heart of hearts that's what that is. It's the devil that keeps that aspect of the thought of marriage away from people, or the negative connotation of marriage and being faithful. Like I seen somebody say something, it was probably about a week ago, where men are not meant to be monogamous. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
I've never really necessarily, even in my worst of worst, I never felt like we weren't meant to be monogamous. I did have the ideology because of the circumstances and the people that I was around that, like, it's hard for us to be faithful, but it's just because of the situations I was in. Mm-hmm. But as somebody that grew older and got it at a later age, being faithful is the easiest thing in the world to do in a relationship. Mm-hmm. In a marriage. It's everything else, really trying to understand your partner and love your partner and understand their love language, what makes them smile and where to compromise, and what tone to speak and how to communicate. Those are the hardest things in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Keeping your genitals in your pants is the easiest thing.
Right.
Like that is the easy. And I would have thought, coming from what I came from, that'd have been the hardest thing in the world. That would be the last stuff on my mind. I'd be worried about now, like, okay, if I don't do this, is she gonna be mad? Or let me, do this to become better so I can make, like, those are the things that becomes more difficult to, I don't want to say difficult like that, but more of a focus
right
in a relationship than being unfaithful. But I think that has a lot to do with maturity too. And, people, again, like that a man gonna be a man thing need to be thrown out the window.
Well, yeah. And then, so again, you have people that are, because they're constantly getting their information off of
TikTok, I that
and social media, and being influenced heavily by social media, especially TikTok. That it'll take a lot. I think it would take them actually being in certain situations for them to start thinking differently.
yeah, that's like you don't see like the relationship that I have with, and that's rare. I've seen other races do this, but it's rare that you see it. I have seen anyway, um, and in the black community that you have married couples and exes that really get along. Everything has to be some type of disdain or argument or whatever it is. Like the kid's father and I, we have a really great relationship. Like he's a great. I respect him as kid's father. He respect me in my position, and we talk like so. That's how it should be, and I think a lot of times people think because people break up, and I was one of those, and when people break up, they have a lot of dislike and hatred. If not, then why did you break up if you don't, you know what I mean? Like, and too many times the kids get caught in the middle. And I was one of the kids when I was younger, when I was a kid, to get caught in the middle, my mother and my father, and I never wanted that. So a transition like what I'm doing now, it's not as hard for me because I would have liked that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to hear their mother and their father going back and forth talking about one another to the kid, or see their mother arguing with their father, or the step parents arguing with the other, biological parent. So it's just all of that has been just messed up through the generations, man.
It really has. And a lot of that again because of some of that it goes with the whole having the kids for the wrong reason and to begin with. Because if you were legitimately not trying to do that just to try to keep someone around, I don't think you'd be as upset. I mean, I'm not saying you wouldn't be upset, but I don't think you'd be the madness would linger as long as it does with some people when they're no longer with that person.
Yeah, she told me something a while ago. Like when you don't have, we just was talking about this too the other day. When you don't have no feelings towards your ex, then it doesn't, you don't care. You don't really, it doesn't bother you what they do or how they move and whatever it is, because you just don't have any feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard for a while for me to understand. Matter of fact, I even went back to I thought about that the other day. I went back to the graduation. It's like, why didn't I go over there and just go speak at minimum? Like, what? I don't care what she's doing or whatever. But in my mind, I was like, to be honest with you, I literally just thought about this a couple of days ago. I was like, man, I was still mad because of how she responded to me all them years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm still mad at that. Like, you owe me an apology, but if I don't care, then I don't care.
Right.
So I mean, I don't care like she's mad and all that, but it's like, no, like, why do you even care about that for? I'm here for my daughter. So those are the type of things like is crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm still guilty of it. I'm still working. It takes me a while to get stuff too. I'm surprised you ain't say nothing about that neither.
What?
That, like, why you ain't gonna speak or nothing like that? I was like, because anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
No, I was just giving them side eye. Sometimes you just gotta let them, right? That's the other thing I should do. It's Jesus. A book. Let them. It's a very good book. You should read it. Let them. I mean, because this is the thing. You can't. People have to learn and grow stuff and understand stuff on their own. And eventually, my prayer is that eventually more and more people will get to it, especially with regards to relationships. That relationships will be repaired and start being in line with how God ordained them to be, so that we don't have as much, especially within the Black community, the African American community, we don't have as much discord, because that's what bothers me, is the discord amongst the male, our male and females and our women and our men and things like that. I don't think we should be in such disarray, as we are, and so that's what bothers me.
And then when you look at other counterparts, like, nobody is so much disconnected from themselves as we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if when you look at the Indian race. Like everybody expect them to be like doctors and lawyers. Yeah, like and you know you and so on and so forth, right? Like whatever you want to say. You look at Mexicans, right? What is the stigma with Mexicans? And I'm not trying to be racist, bring race in and like that, but they'll all come over here and they work hard, and 90 of them will live in one house, and like they're all working in cohesion.
I think what he's trying to say, they all collaborate with each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you get to us, it's like we're just everything has to be. We gotta outshine this person. We gotta, you know what I mean? Like what they deem our culture is just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it affects, going back to anything. It affects relationships. How we look at relationships, how we interact with one another, and it just disconnects us.
Yeah, it does.
So
hopefully we can get together.
Yeah.
Without stinking.
I don't know about that one. Tell your partner they stink if they stink. That's what I'm gonna say. Cause I ever catch you stink, you told me before I stink though, baby. I just thought about that. I'm feeling this hurt now.
Yeah.
You told me I stink.
I told you your socks stink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna play them games, people. Now, what I'm not gonna do is I'm just not gonna just leave you from one stank, but you got about two more left.
I knew you was gonna say that. Yep. Well, you only got one left. I haven't catch you stink. You see that? That's some BS there, buddy. Well, people, yep.
We gotta go. Finish this dinner, and I gotta study.
Yeah, I guess we finish putting the thing up tomorrow. Then.
No.
Yes, we have to, because then we have to.
No, because I'm gonna leave that stuff out like that.
Well, where's it gonna go?
And we're almost done with it. We're putting together a pantry, and so.
But then we gotta move it. It's gonna be there anyway. Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I learned in Beaufort. It was a population of 5,000.
Yeah.
It was a population. Listen to this. It was a population of 5,000, right? 30% of them were slave masters, and 70% of them were slaves. Let's do the math here. How you got 30% of people whipping and beating and raping and killing and doing all kinds of stuff, and you got 70% of these other people over here that's just taking it. The mental manipulation that it took to keep people in control.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So then you wonder why that is more, I guess, grounds to understand why we deal with so much, because you have to do a mental job. I ain't gonna cuss, but you really had to do a mind, whatever they got, mind F, on a group of people, and in order to get them to comply like that, right? So why would we not think that that's going to affect generations continue to impact us? What I really found interesting, though, this is the part that I was like, yeah. I mean, not in that manner, but I was cheering for them. But like, I loved how all the Native Americans fought the settlers off for so long. It was like hundreds of years that they were fighting them off. Like they kept trying to come there and settle, and they were like, nope, get out, and they was battling. And it wasn't until, remember, the English came that they were defeated. But I like how they were just like, no, we're not giving up our land, just giving it up like that. And they actually fought off the French settlers. It was some other settlers that came and tried. And the Native Americans were able to just fight them all off. But
that you know what's funny about that, now that I think about it, that's sort of like that 9/11 stuff. You got 3 people on a plane with box cutters and 100 other people.
Yeah.
And you let 3 people control a plane, and you got 100 people.
Yeah. I mean,
that's so. I don't understand that though.
It's a whole mind thing.
It's definitely a mind thing, and it's sort of like what they have going on now, even in sports. And I know everybody. I love sports too, so I can't really say anything about that. But we just let them. We have enough now. This is how they control us now. We have enough millionaires and billionaires to get together to start our own economy, to start us for us, right? But what ends up happening is, again, how we're so mentally screwed up, We have to outshine one another. We have to make sure we getting more than XYZ, or this person can't do more than us, or this, like all of that, right? And we'll never come together that way. But the even bigger picture is when we don't own and control stuff, or even get, in my opinion, get to start owning and controlling stuff, then I don't care if you're a single billionaire, they can take it from you. Look what they did to Ye.
Yeah.
Look what they did to Kanye. Whether you think he's crazy or whatever he is, he was a billionaire. And they sat there and told him, nope, you gonna act like that, we're gonna take it all away. You gonna speak like that. They're doing the Kyrie, they did to Kyrie. Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy though.
And you're right, Matt. They did, but they took their own as slaves, sold their own as slaves too. But that also goes to show you how insidious, I guess, like this whole. I don't know. To me, it was like that was all because, like, the thing is, there's definitely evil forces at work, right? Where you have a group of people that basically teaches another group of people, like, here's what you do. And then everyone starts following after them. Everyone starts desiring to be like them and desiring to have this. And so it's all like they did. And I'm guessing it's probably part of the reason why they end up losing their land and everything. Because actually, when she talked about the history, when I read about it too, one of the reasons why they end up losing their land is because they start fighting about the slaves of their own people that they were selling to the English and all this stuff. And it was like this big controversy. So then they start fighting them. And so that's what happened as a result of that. But it is definitely a mental thing that has been.
I wonder this, man. I'm gonna talk about 9/11, and I'm gonna make these comments, and I'm done. One, I just wonder, like, if I said this to my wife when we was down there. What if at that one moment, all those slaves are like, yeah, we're not doing this no more, and they would have rallied up and then moved, and attack, move, kill, whatever you want to say, slave masters, right? Once that word would have got around, I would think that it would have been more plantations getting overtaken by slaves.
Some of them were trying to do it, but the thing is, they always had the other ones that were running
scared
and telling.
To do it. Yeah.
They were not only scared, then they would go tell, like, this is what they plan to do, type of stuff. So but that fear factor.
And as far as 9/11, I hope I keep saying this, and I promise you, I hope God never put me in a position like that. I told her this too, and I tell anybody this. I grew up fighting, and you would have told me you hijacking a plane with a box cutter. I didn't see no gun, no machete. I knew you couldn't have no machete on there. And I didn't see no gun like in the movies. You walking around, don't move. Man, I would have took my belt off. I'd have wrapped that end around the belt with the belt buckle, and it'd have been me and that box cutter. And I could have took on all three of them.
I think the thing is, like, it's funny because everyone, like, I don't think people understand how huge of a role fear plays to the people's mentality, right? And how people actually react in situations. I also think a lot of that has to do with kind of like this is similar to like a group think concept to me, because like if you study psychology, you will have a group of people in the classroom, and you will have 3 people that they'll know the answer to something, or 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people that know an answer, and they know that the answer is correct. And they've done studies when they have like 10 other people give the wrong answer, and the people that know the answer will give the wrong answer too, because hey, that's what everybody else is doing, so I need to do that too. And that's how powerful, like,
fear,
groupthink is, the mind is, like, just how our behavior in certain situations.
Yeah, and as you said, certain situations, it's like I'll say this, me being on a plane and you hijacking that plane, my fear is death. So I'm gonna die up here. I'm gonna die when the plane hit the ground. I'm gonna take my chances I'm gonna rely on me at that point.
Well, yeah, but think about it. When people are kidnapped and stuff like that, like, what do? They do everything the person tells them to do for this fear of dying, and that's why they start telling people, like, you have to fight back, because 9 chances, like, what these people are probably gonna do, they're probably gonna kill you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a better chance if you fight back, at least. but not everyone can overcome that type of paralyzing fear, I guess is what you would call it.
Yeah, I that's something like I told we was talking about this the other day. I got robbed one time in my life, and that's not the greatest feeling in the world. I say that I don't know if I mean it, but if somebody else pull a gun on me, depending on the situation, they're gonna have to use it. And we in a situation where Tori and I was talking about this. We was watching a movie, and I forgot what movie it was, but the guy had his wife. It was the man, his wife, and his kids, right? And basically the situation was, it was one guy, the dude had the gun, and his wife and his kids. And Tori and I both said at that point, I'm going after him because y'all can run because they didn't have the family tied up. They was just there, right? At that point, I'm going after the man with the gun, and y'all get on because he got to get me first.
Look, that's an interesting discussion to have next week. Let's talk about that. What do you do if you feel like your partner has failed in protecting you?
Yeah.
Or what do you do if your partner tries to protect you and they get their butt whooped?
That's what I was going to say.
We need to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next week.
Yeah, because I don't know about it.
I'm trying to figure out. I think some people try to be done with it, but we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So meanwhile, again, don't stink.
Yeah, wash your butt.
All right.
And don't smell like butt. I still don't know let me look up that. What does butt smell like?
Have a good evening, everyone.